That's our first time back on Sandy Road, 123 years.
123 years.
This morning we had an event, a historical event, and it was to do with the Longbeck drums and the culture and history of the Longbeck drum in Sandy Row. Now we were to have this about maybe August, but we decided to have it today, just 1 week after the actual opening of Boyne Place, was terrific. And just across the way from us, of course, most people should know now, is the original Great Bridge of Belfast with King William Cross. It's buried underneath the roadway here, near Murray's here, just this side. And it's great. Now, I am aware, I'm not an expert, I have to say this, not an expert at Longbeck drums, but I'm aware of the cultural significance of the Longbeck and Sandy Row. Just across the way, there was the Boyne Tavern, and I'm aware there was a number of drumming clubs operated there. And then down, yes, over there, just where the Boyne flag is, just about there. And then at the other end of Sandy Row, the Clock Bar, there was drumming clubs there. In fact, a namesake of mine owned that bar, Dixon.
Okay.
Dixon, but no, I don't think there's any connection. But I thought, well, if we can get an event going to do with the Longbeck drum, it may encourage other people to get an interest in it. And so I asked John Hagan from the Coke Drumming Club, District Drumming Club, and of course Ian here, Ian from the Shankill Drumming Club to get involved. And I didn't expect a lot, maybe 2 or 3 drums. We'll end up with 2 drums we're pleased with. But the most important drum, of course, is this
123 years.
So John would know about that.
My name's John Hagan, and I'm the chairperson of Coke District Drumming Club. We were formed in 2021 in the absence of a band in Coke Village, so we pulled the Longbegs out. This old girl here, Drumconway's Silver Pride. Drumconway is a very old name for a townland outside the village of Coke in East Tyrone. And this drum here was made in Sandy Row. It was made by... Yes, okay, try again. Okay. So this old drum here has a special significance to Sandy Row. She was made 123 years ago by the Hewitt family in Utility Street in Belfast. So what happened to this old drum? Our lodge bought her from Convis Rising Sons of William, LOL 794. There's a wee bit of a story to her. This drum here, we waited a long time to get her, and the individuals couldn't wait till this drum arrived back in County Tyrone. So what happened was she went into the train station here, and she went the whole way up to Moneymore, and two gentlemen from the lodge were sent to pick the drum up with a horse and cart and told to make great haste, brethren, and bring the drum home. Because Coke was a great wee drumming village. And what happened was the two gentlemen decided to have a stout to celebrate the drum coming to County Tyrone. And then what happened was a few more stout and a few more. So they arrived home very late at night with a lot of worried people wondering where their drum was. And the two men were worse for wear and tear, but lucky enough the horse knew its way home and the drum came home. So she's been in County Tyrone ever since. She was, and we obviously formed a flute band in the 60s and 70s. The drum was put away for safekeeping. No one knew where she was at. No, in fact, a lot of people didn't even know the drum existed. And then last year, a fella says to me, I have a drum. I believe it's one of yours. And I says, okay. And he says, it's from Conway's Silver Pride. And I said, I've never heard tell of it. I knew all the lodge drums by name, but never heard tell of that one. And he says, well, do you want her? So I says, yeah, we'll take it, surely. So we took her up to a guy, Davy Alexander, outside Market Hill, and he put new hoops on her, put a new set of heads on her, a new set of ropes and buffs, but everything else here is original. This is original painting that came out of Hewitt's and Sandy Row in 1902. You know she's an old drum because at the back here, there's two carriers here to lift her, but further back a few inches, there's a single hole. And if you can take a look at that, see, this is where she originally would have put these two carriers here now. But originally, you would have had a single hook coming out of there. The nickname for them was called chokers, because if you put them on, you'd actually choke you. And that's how you know you're dealing with a very old drum when you see the single hook.
What kind of weight?
Heavy. Doesn't here, she's not too bad. She's two-piece. She's pretty good. This the drum here, the guys with the shank is much heavier. But I mean, you're looking at figured oak. She's not too bad. People talk about the origin of the drum, and these are very much, dare I say, a rebel drum. Because what happened was, 1823, we had a situation in Ireland where it was illegal to take an oath. So the Orange Order was banned, basically. 1832, you had the Party Processions Act, meant you weren't allowed to trade. So what did the Orange men do? They developed drums which were louder and bigger than ever. Now, some people say the drum was in Ireland from 1820. I concur. They were made out of made of planks across like that there. Not it was Hewitt's in 1870s who developed the means of splicing the drum along here, and they made it into single piece and two piece. So that's why some people say the drum was here from the 1870s and 1880s. That's this process of making the drum, the real good way, and that's where these drums were apparently first played in Lambeg in 1871 using the Hewitt design, and that's where the name stuck, the Lambeg drum. Whereas the other old drums were made of numbers of planks and boards across them, and they're sort of like a barrel effect. And that's where the older drums were, and they gradually got bigger and bigger. But you can see with this drum here, you can get a lot of tension on it through these ropes and buffs. Whereas the older type with the planks, you'd have warp and you'd have movement. How would you ever keep it in one piece? Yeah. You know, you had a bit of metal strapping around it. And some parts of the country they actually use metal drums as well. But effectively, this design by Hewitt was where all modern Lambeg drums have come from. And so it's either two-piece or single-piece. And it's how they splice the joint here at the top. And they developed that there, and that's what made them unique above anybody else. There were a number of drum makers around the country. For example, Coolbeg Street in Belfast, you had Johnson's. But for these ones here, the Hewitts, I'm really proud of this drum. I take personal ownership of her.
Yeah, good. So
my family home, by the way, was beside them in the utilities.
Your utilities, this is actually, if I turn this here round a wee bit, you can see the bottom.
Yeah.
Mark Hewitt, drum maker, painter, 126 Utility Street, Belfast.
And I lived in 122.
There you are. So your next door neighbours. But that is as original. If you think about that drum, she's sitting there, 123 years of age, and this is Hewitt's painting, which they put on themselves. The only thing new to that there is this bit here, which was put on by Guy McKnight and Coke from Conway Silver Pride and Rising Sons of William. That's the only thing that was different. But you come out of Belfast, you had the ship on the top of it and King William.
Yes.
And that's her, as near the mark as I can get. All original paintwork.
Well, do you not think too, it was very significant this morning that this drum, burying the image of William III, should cross over the very bridge that he crossed in 1690.
Very much so. That's why we travelled 50 miles down the road to be here.
I'm sure you're very proud to have it here.
I am very proud to be standing today in Sandy Row. They're playing the fife across the road where King Billy crossed, playing traditional Ulster Scots tunes to the Lambeg drum. I couldn't be happier.
guys and girls, Freedom Dad here, and
Hope you've enjoyed the interview. It means a lot to me, so it does. This is something, this is my area, South Belfast, where I grew up and run about. But the Lambeck Drub in particular is something that isn't, you can't appreciate how loud it is until you're next to it. You can't appreciate how loud it is until you're lying in bed early in the morning and you hear it in the distance and you're running up, getting in your clothes on you, you're running down the stairs to go and find where the bands are because you would always hear the Lambeck first. And you've seen something that's made history today. The drums first it's been out in 130, 140 years, you know what I mean? So it's something that I wanted to record and document it going over the Boyne Bridge and back again. And yeah, bit emotional to be honest with you. Like, I know a lot of people will go, you're an off, you're not, you know what I mean? But, I think it's maybe when you get older and you remember times by, and that reminds me, being here right now reminds me of being a wee boy back then. And, you know how it is. We all have difficult memories, but, that there is something I'm so proud of, and I'm so proud to bring it to you guys. I'm Freedom Dad, and God bless.